Hey guys, we're back talking about New York City FC. Exciting team, second year in the league. I think they'll be better than they were last year, although David Villa, I think, had the best goals per game for a new player to the MLS, which is pretty awesome. So, I'm going to talk about them for a bit, and I'm going to make this easy for myself because I look on this list and all their defenders, I don't recognize any of their names. And then, to make it even worse, I go to the MLS Fantasy tab, and in their defender section, I see a bunch of... Puppy just wiped out. Oh, she's going nuts. I see a bunch of red marks for guys that are injured and such. So, we'll talk about Saunders quick. Saunders, I think a lot of people think he's a really good deal because he's $5 million. But I don't recommend him at all. I just don't think it's a good idea to pick really anybody on the defensive side of the ball for New York City FC. They're going to be like the Pittsburgh Steelers. In order for them to win games, their goal is going to be to score more points, not necessarily to not get scored on. So, Saunders, if you want a $5 million goalie, I would actually go out and get Blake. I know their defense is still probably a little bit unproven in Philadelphia, but I don't know. I'm staying away from Saunders, and like I said, I'm going to make it easy for myself, and we're just going to skip the whole defensive side of the field. Don't pick anybody up from New York City FC that's a defender, especially not at the beginning of the season. If you know the guys and you're willing to take a risk, go for it. But I'm not recommending any of them just because I don't know any of them. A few of them are hurt, so just avoid it. This is going to be my shortest video ever. I'm excited about that. In the midfield, I think we start to get to some very familiar names. But there's also some injury problems there. I guess we'll talk about him right away. Frank Lampard. According to our fantasy tab, click on his name, click on the little red exclamation mark. It says he has a left gastrocnemius inflammation. It sounds horrible. It might not be as bad as it sounds, but he's not going to be playing this Sunday. Don't pick him up. Who's going to fill his spot? Maybe Poku. I'm not sure. So we'll go on to some other players. They have the awesome, amazing Pirlo, who's had tons of world experience. Played with him a bit last year. Did okay. Not like amazing. He's a little on the older side, and he is $10 million. I think that might be a pretty decent price. Again, he's had a preseason with New York City FC now. He's probably going to be playing a lot of the free kicks. He has a lot of nice chippy balls he can do. Smart player, obviously experienced. I think at some point I'm probably going to have him on my team. I actually had him on my first team that I said I was never going to change, that I've changed about 1 billion times now. But he's a decent option. We're going to next talk about somebody named Bravo, who I don't know at all. He's $7 million, so he must be playing more of a defensive midfield role, but I'm not a fan. I don't know him. He didn't play last year, so don't pick him up. There's other guys from New York City FC that you can pick up if you really want to. There's actually a lot of midfielders to talk about. On this list, it kind of already ends as that's the starters, but I'm not sure why I'm not seeing Mixed Disc Root in this list. That's just really confusing to me. I don't get that at all. Mixed Disc Root's $8 million. I don't know if MLS.com dropped the ball there, but obviously he's got to be in the starting lineup, right? He's awesome. He's got really nice hair too. I'm jealous. $8 million. Did okay last year. Not fantastic. I think he had some amazing moments. But again, sometimes in fantasy, your amazing moments don't always translate into points. So, $8 million I think is a decent price, but I wouldn't recommend picking him up, at least not yet. Again, you want the more offensive-minded guys. Not that he's not offensive-minded, but I think there's guys you could have on your team that'll be a little bit better. In the starting lineup on MLS.com, they also have McNamara, who's been on several different teams. I think a few years ago he was some guy on Chivas that you actually wanted to pick up because he was super cheap, like super cheap, and it was actually doing stuff. He's $7 million this year. I think the way he was playing in preseason, he looked like one of the better guys out on the field. So he's one of those guys that kind of has an awkward run to me. Like, he looks kind of funny when he's playing, but he's still really good. So I don't know if I would recommend him, but if the price is right, he's $7 million. If he really is going to be starting, you could get a really good bargain there, I think. We also are going. We have to mention Poku. I think he had a really good season last year, and he's also not on MLS's starting list. So I don't know what the deal is there, but really good player, really strong player. Let's find out how many goals he scored. He scored 4 goals and had 7 assists. That's pretty good. I'm not sure why he's not in the starting lineup, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Just mentioning another name, and if I'm mentioning him as in, like, I think they should be starting, but MLS doesn't, you probably want to avoid the situation because they might be right, I might be right, but it's a might be, so it's a risk. I'll mention this guy too, Andrew Jacobson, plays a defensive midfield role. I think he plays it pretty well. He got hurt a couple times. He's another guy that's been on a ton of different teams since he got into the MLS. He started, I think, with the Union, then went to FC Dallas, and I know there's some other teams in there, but now he's with New York. So, defensive role, $7 million. Keep an eye out for him, but again, he's probably not going to get a ton of points, so probably won't be on your team. Lastly, forwards, the guy that everybody has from New York City, because it doesn't matter if they're a bad team or not. I'm not saying they are, but it doesn't matter. David Villa is going to score goals. First year in the MLS last year, and I think he had 15. I'm going to double check there. Oh, 18, even better. He had 18 goals, 8 assists. For somebody that's new to the MLS, playing on a new team to the MLS, I think that's a fantastic set of numbers. I would hope he only does better this year. Beside him, it's going to be one of 2 or 3 guys. And I'm going to mention all 3 of them in one go. They have Tony Taylor, $5.5 million. They've got Kyrie Shelton, $6 million, and Patrick Mullins, $6.5 million. So I think a lot of people are looking at Shelton to be the starter right now. But any of those other guys could get in the mix at some point during the season. They're all young, they're all fast, they're all pretty good. So keep an eye out there. Shelton could be an amazing deal at $6 million. He was actually on the first team I made again, but that was so long ago. So that is New York City FC. Oh boy, top 3. David Villa, obviously number 1. He should be on most people's teams. He's on mine. Number 2, I guess Pirlo. World class. Not completely proven in the MLS this year. This is kind of his chance to do it this year. I wish he was a little cheaper, but you're paying for his world class experience. So that's that. And third, I'm not sure. I guess I would go with McNamara, just because at the moment it looks like he's starting and he's a really cheap offensive-minded player you can get. So that is New York City FC. This could be a video where I end up regretting it because their defense is going to start out with like 8 shutouts in a row and I'm going to look like a fool, but nobody is probably going to remember. I might get 20 views on this video before the season starts, but that's all good. Gotta start somewhere. Alright guys, good luck with your fantasy teams. Good luck this year. I hope to see some of you out there on the field. Feel free to comment and whatever. Good luck, goodbye.